Is Tim Sykes a fraud and a scam artist? David Jaffe with beststockstrategy.com, and this is an introductory video because I have so much evidence against Tim Sykes that I'm going to release it in kind of like a, not necessarily a documentary, but in a series of videos. Now again, this is my opinion. Everything that I say should be taken with a grain of salt, and you should not take anything that I say as fact. Instead, I'm going to present you with evidence and then you can arrive at your own conclusion. But a few things is that Tim Sykes, quote unquote, claims to have started a hedge fund, the Cilantro hedge fund. When I looked up the documents that he filed with the SEC, he funded that hedge fund with only $250,000. Now, I don't know about you, but $250,000 will not even cover the legal fees that are necessary in order to open up a legitimate hedge fund. Additionally, it was mentioned in those SEC documents, which I will link you to in an additional video, that Tim Sykes had to borrow money in order to fund and raise that incremental $250,000. Now, I don't know about you, but generally speaking, if an individual is able to turn $12,000 into over $1 million, like he claims, like he turned $12,000 of his bar mitzvah money into over $1 million, you are going to be able to fund your hedge fund with more than $250,000, of which I believe he borrowed a decent amount of that money. I am not sure how much of that money he borrowed, but if you've been able to turn $12,500 into over $1 million, you should have more liquidity to fund your hedge fund than $250,000. Additionally, if you've been able to have such enormous returns, then I would think you'd be incredibly excited and you'd be trying to pour every single cent that you have into a hedge fund because you believe that, hey, if you're able to turn $12,000 into $1 million, then you should be able to turn $1 million into $50 million. So I would think that if you're awash with cash and you have a few $1 million in liquid assets, or at least over $1 million in liquid assets, then you should be able to fund your hedge fund with a lot more than $250,000. And as I've said, from someone with an investment banking and a legitimate Wall Street background, not Tim Sykes, who has never worked at an investment bank in his entire life, or he's definitely not worked in anything from an institutional investment bank his entire life, $250,000 will not even cover the legal fees necessary and the setup fees necessary to start a legitimate hedge fund.